Let's take a look at this video here.
This guy driving past is a guy that just fucking shot at me. I have no clue what's wrong with him. Just doing a delivery, so hopefully I'm gonna leave this recording. Hopefully I don't get shot on my way out. Look out, Pooches. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be calling the cops probably.
All right, let's take a break there. So he's talking to Robert Pickerel. He's talking to Robert Pickerel. And he claims, he says, he is the person who had just shot at me. And I had drove from Delaware, Seminole, down to Delaware. And I had turned around and I was driving back up. But there was no gunshots. There was nobody shooting. He had drove by my house. He had drove by my house like 10 minutes earlier. And he did it once and he did it twice. So the very first thing, I'm backing my truck up. Right? Isn't that what you saw? Let's take a look at it again. No, I'm driving back up to the top of the hill in front of my driveway. So this is my home. This is, you know, I'm right in my block, my neighborhood. I'm just right down the road. So let's go back to the beginning, okay, and say, and see right in the very.
So this guy driving past is a guy that just fucking shot at me. I have no clue what's wrong with him.
The charge is felony menacing. If I'm going around scaring people with a gun, how come I'm not scaring anybody with a gun? I'm driving away from the driveway. And then what's interesting about that is he's talking to a guy named Robert Pickerel, and good luck getting him to go to court. Good luck, see if you can get Robert Pickerel to go to court. Now, Robert Pickerel's a genius. He'll sit there and spotlight your dogs and get them barking up a storm. And then, if you fire some warning shots, he's firing shots back at you. And if you call the police, and then he just stays inside his house. And actually, Deputy Keith Schultz had shined a light over at Robert Pickerel's house in the dead of night. It's completely pitch dark, pitch black. And Robert Pickerel flashed the light back at him. But we're supposed to think, well, hell, maybe it's because, what, he just sits around outside in the dark waiting for people to flash the light at him so he can flash the light right back at him? That's so stupid. That's so stupid. And then Deputy Keith Schultz goes over to his driveway with a bullhorn and says, hey, Robert Pickerel, will you come out? And Robert Pickerel was like, no, I'm just going to stay here inside my house. I'm not going to come out. And then that's it. And then he gets, he's also the person that says, cop caller. Okay, you cop caller. I thought you guys, you right-wing sovereign types are a bunch of tough guys. I thought you right-wing sovereign guys were tough guys. He's sitting there spotlighting my dogs, participating in drive-by shootings. And he's fooled the police. He hasn't fooled me. But they've fooled the police before. One of Robert Pickerel's friends. And Robert Pickerel's crucial. Robert Pickerel's in the middle of all the shit. He knows so many people. He is crucial. You've got to bring Robert Pickerel. You are invited to the jury trial. You're invited to the jury trial to testify everything that you had seen on September 17th, 2021. So, Robert Pickerel, wherever you're at, just to let you know, it's an open invitation. But I would love, actually, for you to come to the jury trial to testify under oath. And I got some questions for you. I'd like to cross-examine you. Who are you? Where'd you come from? Are you in compliance with planning and zoning? How many times did you drive by harassing me? Are you still stalking me? He knows a lot of people. He knows all the names. And what was the guy delivering? I mean, this delivery is the most important. So, okay, so, Right, you notice that I'm driving away from the, from the driveway. I'm driving away from the complainant. I got to be careful, so I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to analyze the case. And I'm not harassing anybody. I'm not harassing anybody. You guys are just pissed off about the truth. You don't want to hear the truth at no fucking point in time. And I've written it down, so it's posted out there. What happened September 17th, 2021? A big rig drives up over the road. I'm walking my dogs. He slows down, looks like he's beckoning me. I don't want nothing of what he's selling. Tell him to get on down the road. He's still messing with me, beckoning me, and I'm kind of pissed off. And now I'm like yelling at him, telling him to get on down the road, yelling at him and pointing and yelling. And he's still slowing down, laughing. I'm yelling, get, the F out of here. And then he jerks his wheel towards me. Oh, what, you going to drive up in the middle of the sagebrushes? I mean, who would do that? Nobody would ever do something like that. But people have done it, and I got videotape evidence of it. And when they drove up it, I didn't think that they were delivering me a 4-meat pizza. I know the pizza delivery people go above and beyond around here, but deliver straight to your bedroom window? It's a little close. So when he jerked his wheel towards me, how was he not threatening me with a deadly weapon, which is the definition of felony menacing? He jerked his wheel towards me. He's laughing. He's having a good time. I'm telling him to get the F out. I could see why he would get mad momentarily and momentarily pull. He's driving super slow. I've already had my dogs get beckoned out into the middle of the road so the person could run over and kill him. And guess what my dogs were doing? They were going to him. Drive on down the road, man. Get on down the road. I'm walking my dogs peacefully in my backyard. Can't I walk my dogs peacefully in the backyard now? Now I'm not even allowed to walk my dogs peacefully in the back motherfucking yard. God damn. He drives up the road just like the person that had killed Tecumseh. It's almost identical. It's almost as if like the person had said, hey, how did you do it? Oh, you drove there, then you drove to their house, and then you drove to the thing and turned back around. Okay. Real slow, Freddy Krueger-like. Oh, okay. He drives back in front of my house. Big, loud rig. That's another thing, too. He wants to say, he's just saying, oh, he shot at me. He shot at me. Are you sure that there was, it was a gunshot? Because how can you hear? I feel like this is my cousin Vinny here. You got that radio playing on, right? You got that loud rig with the engine. Bah, 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 bah. Are you sure? Are you sure it was a gunshot and it wasn't just like a board hitting another board, or maybe, stamping a fence post? That could be pretty loud. There's some loud work. If you take a pounder, pounding a fence post, that sounds pretty loud. So he drives by in front of my house. I think he's intentionally messing with me. And I fire 3 warning shots after he passes my house. I'm behind the house. So there's no possible way that he was in my line of sight. And then he drives on and he makes his delivery. And then I take the dogs inside the house. And then I get in my truck and I go down to the house that was Jacqueline Mitchell. And I say, hey, quit harassing me. And they act like they didn't know what was going on. No, just quit harassing me. And I flipped them off. And then I spun all the way around. And I came to the front of Robert Pickerell's driveway. And then I turned back around, went up the hill, and I sat at the top of the hill. So, lots of questions. Are you sure? I mean, there's a lot of loud noises that's going on. You're also driving a big machine, right? You got to kind of keep focused on the road. So, were you just sitting there looking at me? I'm like, 300 feet? My house is in the middle of the parcel, so it's not to the edge. So, you're having to look off to the side at an angle, like a 45-degree angle. And you got to look forward. You got this big, loud rig. And let's say that's okay. His perception was, for some reason, he got it in his head. He got afraid of the boogeyman. So if he had thought that it wasn't warning shots, but that there was a person that was actually gunning for him, why do you stay in the neighborhood? Why do you hang around? And why do you make the delivery? Is the delivery that goddamn important? Is Robert Pickerel like the fucking Chief Justice or the Sheriff? Or, I mean, Robert Pickerel, is he the most? Is he like AOC or Jimmy Dore, Spall and Brow? Bro, who is Robert Pickerel? And you'll never figure out who Robert Pickerel is, because the prosecution and the cops, if you subpoena him or try to arrest him, Robert Pickerel, like I said, he just stays in his house. He's freaking genius. He tricked Deputy Keith Schultz, and if Deputy Keith Schultz is being honest, he'll say, yeah, Robert Pickerel did flash, or somebody from his household flashed a light back at me, because he had snuck up there. He didn't turn his sirens on. He didn't have his cherries and berries. He came up there real quiet. Didn't even have headlights on. So he had no idea. Robert Pickerel thought it was just me still over there. But no, there was actually 2 other cops that were sitting over there. And I was like, well, why don't you test it? And so he flicked his little flashlight over at Robert Pickerel's house, and guess what he did? Motherfucker flashed right back. Been doing what he's been doing the whole goddamn time. Fucking caught him with his fucking pants down. Then he goes over there with his bullhorn, beckons to come out, and he does it. Now, the other criminals, Robert Pickerel's friend, they'll commit a crime, and then they'll drive in the national forest. And then that's out of the jurisdiction, so if you're in Costilla County, you're allowed to commit a crime, and then drive over to the national forest. You're allowed to commit a crime, and then drive into the mountains, and drive into one of the nooks and crannies of the flats, of the prairies over there. If you're Robert Pickerel, you can come into the neighborhood, say fuck planning and zoning, fuck Colleen Romero, fuck all the legal fucking people, the commissioners, Susie Lamero, whatever, Lucero. Fuck all the planning and zoning people, fuck your laws, fuck your rules, and starts harassing the one person that was following the rules, the one respectable, lawful person in the neighborhood. Robert Pickerel just goes outside, commits a crime, and just stays inside of his house. And cops, if you show up an hour later, maybe the person that's still pissed off is the culprit. I mean, that sounds like domestic violence situation. Or maybe the person that's pissed off was just fucking victimized. And basically, because cops ain't doing their goddamn job, it's like, are you forcing me to go over there and tell him, don't do what you're doing? Because you freaked out over a couple warning shots. I don't think you would take kindly if I was to say, hey, mister, don't you do what you're doing. So I don't think the prosecution will ever find him. I don't think he'll come to testify. And he's absolutely crucial to what happened on that day, September 17th, 2021. We need to talk about what happened on that day. We need to talk about the facts. Felony menacing is when you try to scare people with a gun or a knife or a bludgeon. So if I'm trying to scare people, that's what I say it's self-defense. There's self-defense affirmative statutes. There's what I was doing literally was Article 2, Section 13. But there's also the vigil decision. I have a right to defend myself. It comes from nature. It comes from the constitutional law of Colorado. It comes from the Constitution of U.S. and Colorado itself. I have a right to defend myself. Of course I do. What kind of piece of shit would tell another person that they don't have a right to defend themselves? Fuck. That's like one of the main fucking rights in the state of nature. That's the first, actually, right in the state of nature. According to Hobbes, it's self-defense. You pursue peace for as long as you can. And then when you can't, then you war. Self-defense is the first law in the state of nature, according to Thomas Hobbes. And what else could I be doing? I mean, it's also the private police action of get. Since the cops weren't out there, they weren't doing shit. You mess with me once, you mess with me twice. Now I'm going to park up here. And, you know, there's 2 lanes. if you drive up here, you're not going to mess with me again. So the private police action of get out of here. Now the difference between the person that killed Tecumseh, there's dead, dog and blood everywhere. And I'm not for sure if the complainant even had any injury at all. I'd like to know the extent of the medical thing. Now, last thing I'll mention, or not the last thing. Yeah, Robert Pickrell. So apparently, that's genius, right? Robert Pickrell goes outside, commits a crime, and then he just stays inside the house. So he respects the cops. But a criminal, to commit a crime, what's it take? Only a moment? Maybe 2 minutes for your worst crimes out there? Think about all the worst crimes out there. They're not going to stick around. Especially if they're, got some intelligence to them. So if you show up an hour later and there's still a person that's mad, yeah, maybe that person is mad because they're the culprit and they just, keep on hurting people over and over again. Or maybe because they keep on getting fucked over. I'm not the guy that fucks people over. I'm the guy that gets fucked over. So felony menacing is going around scaring people with a gun. Or a knife or a bludgeon. If I'm driving away, am I trying to scare you? If I'm driving away, am I trying to scare you with my gun? A knife or a bludgeon? You messed with me once, you messed with me twice. I didn't want you to mess with me a third time. By parking my truck up there, I felt like it would be a deterrent from you driving past my house yet once again. If you drove on the side, and then when you left, when the guy left, when the complainant left, I felt a great sense of relief. And I jumped on top of my hood of my truck and I said, I'm going to walk my dogs whenever the hell I feel like it. I'm going to walk my dogs whenever the hell I feel like it. So, yeah. If he truly thought I had shot at him, why is he making the delivery? He's saying he shot at me. Oh, okay. Then why are you driving towards him? And I had shot 3 warning shots from behind my house. So there wasn't any shooting that had just happened. He just saw me drive to the driveway, turn around, and then drive back up to the top of the hill. So the 3 warning shots had happened 10 minutes prior of that video. So I just want to make those comments. It's crucial that Robert Pickrell comes to trial because you need all your eyewitness testimony. So you need Robert Pickrell's on the phone with him. Is he defaming? What is he saying? Why is he? There's a lot of. I got a lot of questions for Robert Pickrell. I already asked a couple. Are you in compliance with planning and zoning? Did you ever get in compliance with planning and zoning? Do you worship the devil? Because Robert Pickrell, I guess he's not a tough guy that goes around and says, hey, you better do what I tell you. But he acts like he's a crazy person and he, that kind of weird stuff that like they try to put like a curse on you. And it's bad energy. It's bad karma. And if you've chosen and dedicated yourself to worshiping the devil, you're worshiping evil. He's also he's a convicted felon for some reason. And I don't think the prosecution, you have to find, if you want to know the truth, if you want to know what the hell happened on that day, September 17th, 2021, you have to find Robert Pickrell. He is absolutely crucial. He might be the main witness. I mean, there's nobody else he would be the main witness. And anybody else that had seen anything of that day, come one, come all. I want all the eyewitnesses. We want to get to the truth of what happened on September 17th, 2021. You want to say it's a felony? 3 years in jail, $100,000 is the maximum. This is serious stuff. So you're not just frivolously throwing out felony charges around here, right? No, we got to have a jury trial. We got to have a jury trial because we got to have a basis of facts. And, oh, he shot at me. Bullshit. You lying. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. But, if, you know, if I had been able to ask a couple questions, I wonder if maybe he would have thought about the situation a little bit differently. Peace.